Welcome to this presentation. We are going to talk about how Cisco ACI and Tufin works together in orchestrating security and policy in your data center. Okay, the next 10 minutes we'll walk through some use cases and what the benefits are for you. So before I start, I want to describe the lay of the land. In data centers today, there is a lot of trends that are changing. First is the type of the application. So you have big data, you have distributed applications, cloud, mobility. These are one set of changes that is happening in the data center. Then the type of consumption, SaaS, PaaS, infrastructure as a service, right? These are the types of consumption models. They are also coming into the prevalence at the same time. And the application delivery is changing as well. So customers are asking for agility to provision their applications. Like in the olden days, we used to have the compute teams, network teams, and storage teams work endlessly together, and it took sometimes months to get an application provision. But now in the cloud world, we want agile application delivery. So these are some of the trends that we're seeing. And in addition, we're seeing an increased preference to move towards cloud. And it turns out that, as per the statistics, 78% of those surveyed are indicating that they want to move their applications to the cloud in the next year or so. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing in the data center today. And let's see how Cisco ACI addresses these challenges. Fundamentally, Cisco ACI has taken an approach of policy everywhere, security everywhere, analytics everywhere. And the right place to put these things is the network. Because the network is like the Switzerland, right? It's a central part where everything is visible, it sees all the traffic. So basically the strategic location where the policies and the orchestration can be done is from the network. So this is something that I said earlier, that Cisco's response to addressing these challenges is to bring in policy-based automation at the high level definition, but how we do it is in these discrete steps. The first step is make your infrastructure programmable, right? So by making your infrastructure programmable, for example, the Nexus 9K, how many of you are familiar with 9K? Some of you, right? Would you agree that it is a programmable infrastructure? Very much, right? So there is endorsement there. So programmability drives automation. So the more you make your infrastructure programmable, less and less manual work, so you bring automation. So for cloud scale application deployment, you need automation, right? So this is really where we are taking the customers towards, more programmability, more automation. So and that we are achieving using policy frameworks that is central in the ACI design. So it's not only L2, L3 automation, L4, L7 automation as well. So in fact, if you come to the Cisco booth later, we can show you demos how we can orchestrate L4, L7 services as part of the overall policy framework. Whether you have a Citrix NetScaler or an F5 big IP, we can automate those things as part of the overall L2, L7 policy framework, okay? So security everywhere. So this is really where, Tufin like partners come into the play. So Tufin helps us by making sure that the security policy changes are enforced in a compliant manner, in a regulatory compliant manner, right? So analytics everywhere. So we recently launched about a month ago Orchestration Analytics, Cisco Orchestration Analytics. You may have heard of that, right? June 15th we made that announcement. So what is unique about this announcement is we discovered the blind spots in the data center and bring unprecedented visibility across the data center by taking real-time information from servers, from networks. So we basically capture all the flows that is happening between the various application components. And then we basically bring intelligent application insights, which is then shared with partners like Tufin, and then they do the necessary orchestration on the underlying infrastructure based on those recommendations. So one of those recommendations could be a policy recommendation, a whitelist policy recommendation. So then Tufin like vendors, can help orchestrate that security policy that we recommend, right? But then this application insights in real time is very, very critical. Imagine a scenario, a robber is going into a bank, stealing the money, gets into a car, drives for a couple of miles, changes into another car, and keeps driving until he reaches the destination. But if you are able to trace all this in real time, right, that is really what Cisco does with this analytics. Every packet flow, every anomalous flow that is happening, we track that and we flag off the anomalous flows. Then we recommend what the right application interaction should be, and that's really the policy that we have to orchestrate with the help of Tufin-like vendors. So that's really how Cisco has taken a holistic approach in addressing these challenges. So ACI is fundamentally built around 3 pillars. The first is basically the policy model. The second is the agnostic nature towards the type of the form factor, whether it is a physical workload or a VM or a container-based workload. And likewise, the third pillar, namely open APIs, which enable us to work with partners like Tufin. They just take our open APIs and integrate and be able to bidirectionally share information. So we share, application insights, and then they bring, the orchestration capability on top of that. Security is actually another pillar in Cisco ACI design. So it's a built-in component in hardware, natively built into hardware. So the ability to create multiple tenants, multi-tenancy in hardware is actually one of the hallmarks of the ACI design. So essentially security is not an afterthought, rather a well-thought design feature in the design of ACI. So one of the proof points of what I've been saying about the great design capabilities and deployment benefits that ACI brings is coming from the customer traction and momentum. As you can see, the 3 components of ACI, namely the purpose-built hardware platform, has 13,700 plus unique customers. We have 7,200 plus customers either having deployed ACI, namely the policy model, or in the process of deploying it. And then the open API is fostering a very huge ecosystem of partners, which is currently 56 partners. So as you can see, Tufin is right there. They've joined this ecosystem recently, both with ACI and Orchestration. So, and all the big name guys that you see in this Cisco Live Convention Center, pretty much they are here as an ecosystem partner. I want to basically segue into giving you a brief overview on Tufin. So Tufin is actually a leader in security policy orchestration. So they do it with an architecture that which is a layered architecture that scales very well for enterprise type deployments. So the abstraction layer in the Tufin orchestration suite brings the topology visualization of the underlying network. And then they have the security and compliance layer where they hold what is called as a unified security policy. So that policy dictates how the components should be talking to each other, whether it's a firewall or an IPS or what have you. So that's really the layer where the unified policy is held. And then above the security layer is the network and security automation. This layer is responsible for actually automating the underlying security changes. So that's really the layer that orchestrates the security changes. If there is a security policy change due to a business requirement, then that change is checked with this security and compliance layer, and then it is implemented in the underlying infrastructure. So this is just a quick overview of how Tufin's layered architecture works. And at this point in time, we're ready to tell you what is the joint solution benefits, and I want to invite Ruben, who is actually founder and CTO of Tufin, some of his insights as to what the business benefits are.
Thank you so much, Ravi. That was great. Okay, I'll just follow up with a few more proof points regarding what we've done with ACI so far. We've done quite a lot. I'm very proud of what we've managed to achieve. So, as Ravi explained, the idea of ACI application-centric infrastructure is to drive the entire network configuration from an application level. And that's very important because it brings the business together with the IT and the security guys, which has been missing for just about ever in security and networking. What we've done actually is we've taken the application definitions from ACI through the RESTful API that the APIC exposes. We've brought the data into our orchestration suite automatically, So we can create the tenants inside our product. We actually refer to them as domains. So every tenant will automatically be mapped to a domain inside of the orchestration suite. And within the domain, we will automatically create all the application profiles in our platform. So it'll mirror the ACI configuration in Tufin. It gives you the visibility across the multiple infrastructure vendors that you have here. It'll also do the compliance check for you, so knowing that all of your applications are continuously compliant with your unified security policy. And last but not least, it will automate the changes for these applications across all the vendors that you have here, the Cisco, the Checkpoint, the Palo Altos, and the cloud platforms as well. So it gives you the complementary orchestration across the security infrastructure. And together, it basically automates the entire life cycle of the application changes. So that's pretty much it.
So in closing, we just want to leave you with a couple of references. If you want to learn more about ACI and Tufin, so you can go to cisco.com/go/ACI. So you'll see the solution briefs and related materials posted there. And you can also come and check with Tufin for a deeper demo on what the product does. And you can stop by at the Cisco booth where we can show similarly the ACI capabilities in the form of demos. So enjoy the show and thanks for attending. Yeah.